In July 1931, an impecunious Cambridge graduate called Alistair Cooke wrote to the BBC offering his services as a theatre or book critic, as a narrator of fiction or poetry, even as a songwriter, anything, in fact, that would gain him a foothold in the corporation. The BBC turned him down flat. But Cooke didn't give up so easily. He continued to pester the corporation until finally, in 1934, he succeeded in becoming the BBC's film critic. That was just the start, because Alistair Cooke had a much bigger ambition, inspired by his growing fascination with the United States. Having emigrated in 1937, he fought for a decade to establish the idea of a weekly talk for the BBC, which would help dispel transatlantic misunderstandings and misconceptions. The result of his tenacity was The Letter from America, first broadcast in March 1946, the start of a 50-year journalistic marathon which will never be matched. The letter, of course, doesn't tell the full story of an extraordinary career. In 1972, television viewers were treated to Alistair Cooke's 13-part personal history of America. The opening shots of the first programme discovered the presenter on a bridge over the River Cam, explaining how his love affair with America began.
I had graduated from Jesus College, and suddenly, in the spring of 1932, I was offered a fellowship at Yale University. And I remember one day leaning on this bridge and wondering what America must be like. Now, I thought of myself as a very sophisticated character, but I must have realized dimly even then that the preconceptions that you hold about a country, the ones that stick, are the ones that you learn practically from birth. Now, in the First World War, I was a very small boy in a seaside town in the north where you could train thousands of soldiers on the sands. And we had billeted with us, on us, 7 American soldiers. I learned later that the men who wrote the American Constitution put in a clause actually forbidding the billeting of any soldier in a private house. But with their uncanny foresight, they saw that this did not apply to England. Well, anyway, their soldiers were taller than ours, but also paler, almost yellow. And my father explained, he had never been to America either, that this was because of the skyscrapers which kept the sun off their faces. And this completed my childhood picture of America. New York City with skyscrapers, yellow men, maybe red men on the fringe. A stretch of prairie through which ran the Mississippi River, thrashing with steamboats and gamblers who were nudged aside from time to time by a man in a white suit who kept rushing to the stern and dropping a plumb line and shouting, "Mark Twain." Then another stretch of prairie, the only range of mountains, the Rockies, and the only other city, San Francisco, which was founded by Australian convicts.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?